And as we hear more and more about the coronavirus outbreak every day, many workers are wondering what their rights are if they were to get sick for an extended period of time. And joining us now is our labor laws attorney, Sean Ray. So good morning, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think that, of course, like as we see bad things happening in the world, we're often thinking, oh, that will never happen to us. But with the coronavirus, I think it's a little bit different. I think people are thinking to themselves, oh, this could happen to me. And if so, what will happen? So a popular question that we're getting at this time is, if I were to be sick for an extended period of time, could I lose my job?
And if you're sick, the answer is probably going to be no. The issue we're facing is the potential exposures that we're seeing, and what do we do with those? And so in that instance, you're not sick. You've just been exposed to the virus. Perhaps, you're able to spread it. We just don't know yet because you haven't tested positive. So you're not actually sick. You can't avail yourself of sick leave laws at that point because you don't have anything. And so that's really the gray area. If you were to contract the virus, there are sick leave laws and things of that nature in place, FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act type of protections for jobs.
And then also, how much time is required by law for people to get sick leave as an employee?
They start accruing. It depends on the policy, but the minimum policy is they start accruing upon hire, and then they can start using it after 90 days in the workforce. You accrue based on the number of hours you work. So newer employees may not have a whole lot of sick leave. Some employers do front load all the sick leave. So it really depends on what the employer's policy is.
I see. So what about if somebody were to run out of sick time? What are some options that they have?
If they're sick, they can pull. If there's PTO, if the employer has a PTO policy, they can pull from that. They have unpaid leave. Unfortunately, that doesn't help pay the bills, but there is unpaid leave under Family Medical Leave Act or Oregon's version of the same that would protect the job so that when they do recover, they can come back to work. It's a little premature at this point to figure out whether short-term disability would apply or not and this kind of a thing because we're still learning more and more about the virus every day.
Right. And are there any other rights that you want to bring to employees' attentions that they have, while we're kind of working through this gray period in this strange time?
There's a number of laws that are implicated here, and whether the ADA applies, the Americans with Disabilities Act, or whether the Family Medical Leave Act applies or sick leave applies, there's an intersection of all of those things. But if you're not sick, you've just been exposed, potentially maybe none of those apply, and then it's really going to be what the employer does. And of course, the employer has an obligation to keep their workplace safe, and they don't want to spread throughout the workplace. So they may ask an employee who's been exposed to self-quarantine or self-isolate at home. In that case, it's probably best if you at least consider paying that employee for that time you're forcing them to be away from work when they're not exhibiting symptoms of the virus.
Yes, I know Merkley has asked, our Senator Merkley has asked employers to pay employees if that were to happen. So we'll just have to see, but thank you so much for answering those questions that I know are top of mind for a lot of people. So we have an entire section on coin.com dedicated to the coronavirus, including facts, myths, and what you should know and do. Just go to coin.com/coronavirus.